everyone. Today we are Let's Playing Mega Man and Bass Challenger from the Future. The, I guess, official sequel to Mega Man and Bass. That's right, a Mega Man and Bass sequel actually existed. It was only released for the WonderSwan. In fact, let's look up some information on that, shall we, as I go online right now. The game was only released for the WonderSwan, as I said. I'll talk about what the WonderSwan is later and what the main gimmick of the WonderSwan is, although you saw a little hint of it as we went to the options menu. But it was released in 1999, August 5th, 1999, only in Japan. And it was not... Yeah. The game was not made by Capcom, just a company named... Bandai. Yeah, Bandai. You saw the name at the bottom of the title screen there, so it's fine. Anyway, let's talk about the actual gameplay, because I was pretty surprised, not just that the game exists, although I am surprised about that, and I think a lot of people should be, because this game is never talked about ever, because it's supposed to be a rip-off, spin-off of a Mega Man game. The only reason I'm Let's Playing it is because technically there's mentions of it in a canonical Mega Man game, Mega Man ZX Advent. No, sorry, I just looked out the window. There's children play outside, you can probably hear them, because we got a pool right next to the apartment we live, so you're gonna hear children, that's fine. That's fine, they're doing what they do. I think my niece is out too. And whatever. Anyway, back to the game itself. Game considered to be just a rip-off, spin-off of the Mega Man franchise, not an official game. It is mentioned in Mega Man ZX Advent and a few places here and there. I'll actually get to those when we eventually, way down the line, get to Mega Man ZX Advent. The second thing that surprised me about the game, besides its existence, is that this isn't bad. This is actually a pretty fucking decent Mega Man game. It's not perfect. There's some very glaring problems that keep it from being great. But this is okay. Keeps it from being good, too. Those glaring problems I mentioned. Keeps it from being good or great. But this is okay. This is actually not bad. It's a little short, but it's got a unique story. The team at Bandai were not the main Capcom team, but they did a decent job replicating the Mega Man Let's Play formula, the Mega Man gameplay formula. You know, they got the slide in, they got the charge shot. It plays like a Mega Man game, and you fight. Some of them anyway are, you know, familiar with Mega Man robots, and some of them aren't. This boss is familiar. This is the Grey Devil. The Grey Devil. The Grey Devil. An incarnation of the devil we have not seen yet. This devil was, I think it was created by Mega Man Shadow. I don't know if Dr. Wily made this particular incarnation of the devil. I think it was Mega Man Shadow. Yeah. It's pretty easy. You know, just goes left and right in a little puddle. You can only hit him in the eye. That part sucks. Because the eye is so small. That's one of the problems with this game. Some of the targets are so fucking small that they are very, very difficult to hit with as Mega Man. Even more difficult as Bass. Oh boy. Wait till we get to talking about Bass, because... Oh, and sometimes shots don't register. Did you see that? Oh my god, that shot didn't register. Oh my god, and that totally hit his eye too. Fucking Grey Devil. Whatever, he's dead now. It's time for a cutscene. This game has cutscenes and plot in between Robot Master stages. It's pretty great. Yeah, it is Grey Devil, see? Mega Man Shadow says so. Needs a new base. This is your base? It's a fucking cave, man. Come on. And yeah, you don't have to keep doing this. Classic Mega Man trying to appeal to this guy naively because he's a child. Technically, Mega Man Shadow is a child too, but you know, whatever. You get to save just like in Mega Man and Bass. But let's go ahead and talk about Bass, the second main character, because oh shit, man. This game was not designed for Bass at all. In the first Mega Man and Bass, I talked about how, you know, stages were more designed for Bass and bosses were more designed for Mega Man. This game entirely is designed for Mega Man. Bass has such a difficult fucking time getting through this game. Insane. If I wasn't Let's Playing this, I would only ever play it as Mega Man. Playing it as bass, it's almost not fun in some places. And it all has to do with that fucking bass buster. Oh shit, I'm just getting horrible flashbacks remembering how difficult it was to record with bass. His bass buster is so fucking weak. Just like it was in the first Mega Man bass, but it's so much more awkward to move around his bass. And yeah, by the way, bass can, you know, he dashes instead of sliding, he double jumps. He's got the whole thing. Just like he did in the first Mega Man bass. It's so fucking difficult playing as bass. Some enemies have such small and quick appearing hit points like the Met Tools. Fighting them as Mega Man is fine. Fighting them as bass, you're always guaranteed to get hit, and it's fucking terribly annoying. That second set of spikes there, I didn't slide under them as Mega Man, but you can slide under them as Mega Man. You cannot dash under them as bass. Bass is too tall. The dash prevents bass from getting into some places, but you know, Mega Man's like a double jump prevents him from getting to some places. So in that sense, it evens out. But in the sense of how powerful enemies are, in the sense of how awkward some enemy motions and movements can be, it's just not fun to play as bass at all. Those walls can be destroyed with a special weapon that we get later from the boss. But I mean, holy shit. The only proof that I really need for how difficult it is to play as bass is just to compare how long levels take as Mega Man as bass. My actual recording videos. In fact, let me pull them up. Let me just pull them up while this plays. I'm not going to actually play one as I'm recording, but I will just look at the run times because fucking shit. Let's see. No footage. Okay, here we go. Let's see, the second stage. For bass, it took me, the length of the video is 7 minutes, 19 seconds for the second stage. For the raw footage of bass playing through the second stage. For Mega Man, it is 5 minutes, 15 seconds. Stages take, they take so much longer as bass. Bosses take so much longer as bass. I had to cut the Grey Devil fight because it takes forever. Bass only does 1 bar of damage with his bass buster to bosses. And as you'll see with every boss except for Grey Devil, they have long health bars. They have like 48 hit points of damage. Grey Devil has 24 like normal bosses do, kind of like you do. I think, actually no, I think Mega Man Bass had 32 bars of damage as usual. But bars of health, I should say, as usual. The Grey Devil has 24, but regular bosses have 48 each, and then Mega Man Shadow, when you eventually get to him, has 60 bars of hell. Yeah, see, I cut it, because the fight was taking forever. Don't get caught in Grey Devil's blobs, by the way, because it does get you stuck, and it does hurt you over time. I hit him! It didn't register! God, you know, this game is much better than I initially gave it credit for being a Japanese-only release that came out for a console I never heard of, but holy shit, some parts of it just... You know what it is? You know what it is? I'll say that while Mega Man Shadow's talking bass. This game was a great idea with some pretty decent ideas and okay level design. Not finished. Not even badly executed. Not finished. It's not finished. This game is not finished. Yeah, you know what? That's perfect. That was my problem with this game the entire time. It's not finished. Anyway, here's the bosses. We only have 4 to choose from now, but after we beat them, we'll have more to fight. So don't you worry about that. The game's actually a respectable length for a Mega Man game. Before we actually start, though, let's go ahead and visit the shop. Exactly the same as the shop from the first Mega Man Bass. I'm not gonna bother showing off every single weapon and every single item and what they do, like I did for Mega Man Bass. If you want to see what these things do, go ahead and check out my Mega Man Bass Let's Play, specifically the extras video, shameless plug. Because I go over what all these do. The Mega Man Bass shop from the first Mega Man Bass has more stuff to choose from, although this shop does have a few unique items that I will be showing off after the first boss. They're not all unique items. Most of them are things we've seen from Mega Man and base. But some of them are actually pretty unique. And like I said, I'll talk about the 3 specific ones that are different when I actually show that off. I like the added touch of all set, my son. The Dr. Light says. Also, he's smoking a pipe. It's very good. I'm sure if this game was actually localized, you wouldn't have been able to get away with that. Time for the first actual stage, though. Bullet Man. You may also notice, as we go through this, there isn't any original music in this game. Like I said, this, by many, is considered a rip-off, spin-off, whatever, Mega Man game that technically doesn't count in the canon, although it technically does count in the canon. Oh, yeah. No original music, though. The opening stage theme was just the Robot Museum theme for Mega Man and Bass. The shop theme was the shop theme from the first Mega Man and Bass. You know, Mega Man Shadow stage at the end just has the King theme, the King Castle theme for Mega Man and Bass. And yeah, I mean, what do you expect? They probably didn't have a lot of time to make this. Oh, no. There we go. How do we see this suspiciously familiar looking flying bee bug mini boss? Every stage has a mini boss, by the way. But this thing looks suspiciously like the bee robot from the first stage of Mega Man X. Like suspiciously close to it. I believe Mega Man X came out a couple of years before this, right? I'm sure I'm right about this. Came out in '99. Mega Man X came out before that, because Super Nintendo was out for a while by that point. Mega Man X was pretty early on. I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna look it up anyway, because why not? It came out... Come on. Came out originally, yeah, 94, so yeah. This is clearly just them using an asset from Mega Man X and making it appropriate to use in Mega Man Base 2, downgraded it to use in Mega Man Base 2. So good for them, I guess. I mean, it's pretty cool. And a nice, good foreshadowing for things to come in about 100 years' time for Mega Man's future. But anyway, I've been complaining about the game and the things I don't like about it. And you'll see one very specific thing when we get to the, I believe it was the 3rd stage. One thing that I encountered when playing this bass that really just pissed me right off. But let me talk about the things I do like. This stays very true to what a Mega Man game is and how it's supposed to play. The music is not god-awful to listen to. Mega Man 2 for Game Boy. I bring that up because this game has a lot of ties to Mega Man 2 for Game Boy, ironically, because this is actually a better game than Mega Man 2 for Game Boy. The music isn't god-awful. The enemies have been, you know, appropriately put here. The models, the sprites look good. Even if the animation isn't super, because Mega Man doesn't run, he just kind of power walks his way across stages, same with bass. The sliding sprite looks pretty good, though. The sliding sprite looks pretty decent. So does the idle sprite for Mega Man and for bass. It's just the movement that's a little off. But whatever. I can't fault the overall aesthetic of the game. Even some of the bosses. I know some of them look ridiculous, but to be fair, a lot of fucking Mega Man bosses look ridiculous. Now, Bullet Man. Pretty easy pattern. He, you know, flies up left and right. He shoots 3 Vulcan blasts at you. Don't get hit by them or you'll be stunned long enough for his charge to hit you, and the charge does a lot more damage than the fucking Vulcan blasts, as you'll see right there. Yeah, fuck that stupid charge. Just keep wailing on him with the Mega Buster or Bass Buster. As Bass, this battle takes fucking forever again, because this game is just so difficult as Bass compared to Mega Man. Mega Man just has It's not even an easy time that Mega Man has. Mega Man just has a more balanced time getting through the game, whereas with Bass, it's a fucking chore. But let's get into something that's different between Mega Man and Bass 2 compared to Mega Man and Bass 1. And that is the fact that Mega Man and Bass actually get different powers when you fight a boss. So, you saw Mega Man, he got the Mega Vulcan blaster there. Let's see what Bass gets. First of all, here's the end of the fight with Bass. Even this last little bit takes a while because... Fuck. Playing this Bass is so difficult. I'm sorry, I'm getting real mad, but it's just... Did not have a fun time playing this Bass. Anyway, though, let's get to the point of this, of cutting to Bass beating Bullet Man. The Bass Vulcan. It's not the same as the Mega Vulcan. It's a homing shot, whereas the Mega Vulcan had this, you know, sort of 3 shots thing, where one shot flies straight up, one shot flies straight down, and one shot just goes straight down, kind of like the Elect Beam from Mega Man 1. Not every boss will give the 2 characters unique items. Sometimes give them the same item. Depends on the boss. I'll tell you which bosses give you different weapons and which ones don't. Revisiting a stage, you still get the intro. You can skip it by pressing the start button. Did not show the pause screen yet, so here it is. Get your own pause screen music, which is very nice. It's a shop theme again. There's all your slots for your weapons, for the items that you buy in the shop, and you know, you get to choose power. You can't press L and R to switch between the powers. The important thing about that is that the music actually resets every time. Every time you pause the game, it resets the music, which is very awkward when you're fighting bosses, and you always hear the da 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 da, and a da 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 da. It's very awkward, especially since you can't switch your weapons very quickly. It's a very foolish thing that they have left in, but you know, it's probably a rush job. Now, this thing that I'm showing off here is very important. As you'll see when I pause, whatever weapon energy you waste in a stage stays wasted in between stages. Your health, you know, is refilled every time you start a new stage, but your weapon energy isn't. That's why there's an item in the shop to refill all your weapon energy. This is on purpose. This is a really good idea. I actually kind of like this. For a short game like Mega Man and Bass 2, this is pretty cool. For a short game with as few powers as Mega Man and Bass 2, that's a good idea. I really like that. And now we're going to go to the shop space. Let me keep talking about the weapon energy situation. I like it. I think it's a good idea. And I was going to say more, but I just kind of forgot because I was looking at the shop stuff and remembering that in just a second I'm going to have to talk about the new items, the 3 new items. But yeah, I just like it. It's a good idea. It makes the game more difficult. And not in a way that's annoying like Bass's fucking gameplay or his uber weak Bass Buster, but in a decent way, in a creative way that just puts a new spin on the old conserve thing I used to say when you had to go to a Wily castle in the old Mega Man games. I had to conserve the entire time, the entire game. Alright. Here's the 3 new items, though. The first one is Reggae. Reggae works similar to Eddie in Mega Man and Bass 1. Basically, he just comes down and gives Bass a health item. It's always a health item, unlike Eddie, who sometimes gives you other random junk. So Reggae is pretty useful. You can only use him once a stage. Second item, it's Rush. We had Rush in Mega Man and Bass 1, but it was Rush Search, which was used exclusively to find CDs. In Mega Man and Bass 2, Rush goes back to being Rush Coil again. Then you can just use that whenever you want on a stage, so it's pretty cool. And finally, this power did not appear in Mega Man and Bass 1, but it did appear in Mega Man 5 for Game Boy. It's a good callback. It's Tango. And Tango does the exact same thing that he does in Mega Man 5 for Game Boy. He curls into a, you know, spin dash ball and just jumps around the screen, destroying enemies. That's it. We had this power in Mega Man 5 for Game Boy, not in Mega Man Bass 1. It's a good callback. I really like that. And now, finally, that's all done, so we can just get back to fighting bosses. Stove Man. Uber creative name. Actually, if you look at Stone Man's design, he looks very, very similar to Solar Man. He actually fights kind of similarly to Solar Man. It's pretty fun. They got the idea for Solar Man from Stove Man. I mean, I can't confirm that. Maybe they probably didn't, but from what you see in this game that came out in 1999 versus Mega Man 10 that came out in 2000. Oh fuck! What year did Mega Man 10 come out? I'm gonna type that in now because I want to find out. Couldn't have been later than 2010. Couldn't have been later than 2000? No, it couldn't have been later than 2010. Let's find out. Oh, it was 2010. It was exactly 2010. Okay, exactly 2010. Oh, because Mega Man 10. Ha ha ha. Ha. Good one, Capcom. Good one. Actually, pay attention that we're playing a full stage space. Just pay attention to how long this stage is. In fact, I think I said it earlier when I was looking at that raw footage stuff. The second stage as base was 7 minutes. As Mega Man, this stage took me 5 minutes. Now I know 2 minutes doesn't seem like a long time, but it adds up. Especially if you're trying to do no death runs like me. And when you mess up once at the end, and you have to do it all again, with the awkward stages, but not the awkward stage. Well, the awkward stage design for base and the awkward enemy placement for base. Oh god, these stages can go on forever. And that's such a shame, because if they had literally just made bases busters a little bit stronger, I would have no problems with this whatsoever. This mini-boss actually destroys the ground you're standing on. If you don't destroy him fast enough, he will destroy all that ground and you will fall in the spikes and you will die. So as base, use a special weapon, because his base buster, as I'm going to keep saying, for the next 40 minutes or so, uber weak. And it's not going to destroy that thing in time, whereas Mega Man's Mega Buster will destroy it in time. And you know, I don't think it even bothered me that much if the upgrade for the base buster, which I don't get during this playthrough, by the way. Not at all. I play the entire game as base with his super fucking weak base buster. Yes, sir. Wouldn't have been that big of a problem if his upgraded buster was like 100 bolts. Because you know what? Bolts are actually pretty difficult to get in this game. Big bolts aren't worth that much. Small bolts, obviously only worth 1. I think big bolts in this one are only worth like 5. They're not worth as much as you think, and you're not going to get bolts that quickly. These flamethrower enemies are really annoying. As base, you just have to charge through because you're literally going to be stuck fighting them forever. As you see right now, how long I'm stuck fighting this one. This one, folks, I didn't want to get hurt again. But anyway, his upgraded base buster works exactly like it did in the first Mega Man base, but it costs 300 bolts. It costs 300 bolts in Mega Man Base 1 as well, but in Mega Man Base 1, you had that teleporter room where you got the giant bolts, each worth 100. So, no matter what, as base, you were going to be set for King's Castle for the most difficult stages of the game. You were going to have the upgraded base buster no matter what. Not so in Mega Man Base 2. There is no special teleporter room. I think by the end of this game I get like 270 something bolts as base, and this is playing the game decently, collecting almost every bolt I see. If they aren't, you know, in between a med tool, blocking me from getting there or exchanging getting it for a hit. Ugh. Aha, you see? Switching weapons real quick in Mega Man Base 2 causes some awkward problems with the music, because the music has to keep resetting every time you unpause the game. I don't get why. I mean, just why? It's so strange. Anyway, Stove Man, he shoots fire up in the sky, brings it down to the ground. In order to effectively fight this guy, you do have to destroy one of the flames that he brings down to the ground, so you have room to maneuver and dodge his flame wave attack. Then after the flame wave attack, he, flies up, shoots some fire down to the ground. You just dodge that. He lands on the other side and repeats the pattern. The fire he shoots when he's in the middle of the sky, 5 flames shooting down to the ground at angles. Just dodge them. It's not that difficult. The difficult part as base is destroying the fire. Stoveman's weakness is the base Vulcan, the Vulcan Blaster, whatever you want to call it, Vulcan Buster, whatever you want to call it. Do you see how much health this boss has? How much health Bullet Man had? That's 48 bars of fucking health. That is too much health. I think this game is way better than I gave it credit for originally before playing it. But it's so obviously not finished. Why would you give the bosses that much health? Why would you put the health bar so it blocks where some of the fire lands? These are questions I had as I played the game. I had more fun than I thought I was going to, but then I clearly see why this game was only released in Japan for a console I never heard of and never ported to anything else ever again. At least I don't think it was ported to anything else ever again. Was it ported to anything else ever again? Let's see if it was ported to anything else ever again. Actually, no, it was not ported to anything else ever again. Okay. That's fair. That's fair. There's the Flame Mixer. Base gets shield. Mega Man doesn't get a shield. It's a very role reversal, because Mega Man usually always has a shield in almost every game. A shield-based weapon, but not in Mega Man and Base 2. I don't mind it. It's fine. They both do pretty much the exact same thing. They just look different. Oh, since I don't ever get a game over, here's the game over screen. It's pretty much exactly the same as it was in the first Mega Man and Base. Just, in black and white. Alright, now that we get into the third stage, let's talk about the WonderSwan itself. The console, the WonderSwan. The handheld game console, the WonderSwan, and its big console gimmick. Because this console has a gimmick. This handheld mobile console has its own gimmick, as you'll see when we enter Aircon Man's stage. Yeah, here we go. Turn the WonderSwan and push start. The WonderSwan lets you play games regular, where you hold a console as, imagine you're holding a Nintendo Switch. Or imagine you're holding a Game Boy Advance. Imagine you're holding a Game Boy Advance, because that makes more sense. Imagine you're holding a Game Boy Advance. And then there's a game where the Game Boy Advance asks you to please turn the Game Boy Advance, the original Game Boy Advance, mind you, please turn your Game Boy Advance to the side. And play games like that. That's exactly what the WonderSwan does. It was designed to play games horizontally and vertically. It's very strange. And I don't know how good WonderSwan games used this gimmick. I don't know how well some WonderSwan games use this gimmick. I know it's not used that well in Mega Man and Base 2. Because in Mega Man and Base 2, the only thing it's used for is this stage. Literally, this stage. This is not seen again for the rest of the game. You would not even know this was a WonderSwan game. A WonderSwan exclusive game if it wasn't for this stage. Because this stage makes you play the game vertically. You would never even know. This mini boss, by the way, is pretty unique. It's pretty cool. Basically, you just have to take the Metals. As Mega Man, you have to use these Metals and shoot them when they're not shooting at you. Basically, you know how you always have to avoid the instinct of shooting Metals when their helmets are down? Because you have to wait for the helmets to come up. That's how it works. You have to wait for the helmets to come up to kill them. Excuse me. You have to wait for the helmets to come up to kill them. But in Mega Man and Base 2, you actually, to kill this mini-boss, you have to wait till the helmets are down and have the shots ricochet into the octopus robot at the top of the screen. Do that enough times and the octopus robot dies. Try not to hit the moving girders protecting it, and you're fine. That's the mini-boss. It's a very unique mini-boss. I will say this for Mega Man and Base 2. There's a lot of pretty unique mini-bosses that have a lot of unique gimmicks to them. They're not that difficult. I know I'm getting my ass kicked here with this octopus robot. But really, they're not that difficult. I'm just doing a bad job. They're not that difficult, but they have pretty unique gimmicks. Some of them do. Some of them are just basic mini-boss fights. But some of them, like the octopus robot or the hand that destroys the entire arena and drops you into spikes at the end if you don't kill it fast enough, those are unique gimmicks. As base, you can fight this boss either by doing what Mega Man's doing, which is shooting the shots at the med tools when their helmets are down and having them ricochet into the octopus, or you can just, because it's base, you can just shoot directly up and kill the octopus that way. It can take you even longer, because base's shots are super weak. But that's just how they wanted to design the game. Can't... Anyway, the second half of Aircon Man stage has another gimmick. It's pretty good. You just have to shoot these inflatable balloon robots. I mean, they're not balloons. They actually look like Octoroks. Yeah, they kind of look like Octoroks. Charge shots kill them. More than one shot kills them. But exactly one normal pellet shot will inflate their balloon and, you just fly up. Try not to get hit by spikes or enemies. Or maybe do get hit by enemies, so you can stand contact with the spikes for just a second, giving you the time needed to make a jump that you have to make. I don't know. It's such a strange gimmick for a console. Having to flip it horizontally, and then vertically, and then back to horizontally. It's so weird. I don't get what the design mentality is with that. I mean, I suppose I do. I mean, it's probably good for some puzzle games. I haven't looked at the WonderSwan library, but I'm pretty sure it's good for some puzzle games. Let's actually look at the WonderSwan library. What's it got? List of WonderSwan games and list of WonderSwan color games. Oh, there was a color version of the WonderSwan. Okay. Alright, that's fine. What would it have? Oh, a lot of Japanese games. Oh, obviously this was only released in Japan. The WonderSwan was only released in Japan. You don't see this thing with other nations, other countries. Space Invaders, really? Wow. I mean, I guess for basic arcadey games and puzzle games, WonderSwan would be fine, but I mean, the gimmick doesn't really translate to bigger games. By the way, this stage has 2 paths. You're going to see the base path in a second. Don't take the base path, no matter what. It's literally not worth it, and it's going to highlight one of the big problems of this game. One of the big, major fucking problems with this game. You saw a little taste of it when I fell back down as soon as I got hit when I entered the screen. It's going to become even more. It's going to be more apparent in a second. You'll see. Let me just destroy this thing real quick. Come on, there we go. Okay. Watch this. Keep watching. Just keep fucking watching that. Because what the shit, man? Placing enemies where you immediately get hit that push you back into the previous screen, so you have no choice but to just walk back in and get hit again. And if I was Mega Man, I'd probably be screwed because my normal jump isn't high enough to protect me from the damage of that fucking metal. And now we can turn the WonderSwan back over. But holy shit, some enemy placement in this game. That's the other big problem with this game. Not only that was it not designed for base, some enemy placement is just horrendous. Anyway, Aircon Man himself. He's actually not that difficult. It's a pretty cool boss, actually. He's, basically, he just flies up in the air, shoots 3 little cubes at you. I don't get why some enemies, like those 3D cubes, shoot more 3D cubes at you. Anyway, once he's in the middle of the screen, he's going to shoot rocks at you, a la the enemies from the first stage of Mega Man Base 2. You probably saw them. They're little horns that shoot out rocks. Those rocks are platforms. You can use them to get to the necessary height you need in order to actually damage Aircon Man with your Mega Buster or Base Buster. The third thing he does once he lands back into the ground is launch 3 Met Tools at you. So, you know, try to destroy one as they fly at you so you have them space to maneuver and not get hit by the other 2. And that's it. Repeat the process. Flies up in the air, shoots 3 cubes, shoots rocks that you can use to get the necessary height needed to fight him. And then he just blows Met Tools into himself. That doesn't hurt him for some reason. I guess the fan destroys them before he can hurt them. I don't know how. Whatever. His weakness is the Flame Mixer or the Flame Shield that Base has. The Wind Weapon that you get from him, this thing that Mega Man's using against Bullet Man, which, by the way, this is Bullet Man's weakness, that's why I'm showing it off. It's the exact same thing for Base. This is one of the bosses where the weapon you get as Mega Man and the weapon you get as Base are exactly the same thing, so I didn't show the Base version because it's exactly the same thing, except it's named differently, but it's exactly the same thing. It's also Bullet Man's weakness, as I just said, and as you just saw. And now, Camuso Man. Camuso Man. Camuso Man? Camuso Man. Camuso Man. That's how you pronounce it. I'm not going to pretend I know how to pronounce it. Camuso Man. Camuso Man. Huh. Camuso. Yeah, I should really take a Japanese class. If I even have the money for it. Oh boy. It's been a pretty hectic summer. Between a part-time job, online calculus course. Good way to stay busy and productive. No, yeah, it was a good way to stay busy and productive. I just finished the course on Sunday. I'm recording this on Monday, the very next day, so I just finished the course yesterday. Not bad. Didn't have to use any special books, learned everything I needed to learn. Good stuff. Good online calculus course. Yeah, it was a good online calculus course. For the fall semester. That's not gonna be fun. This mini boss, by the way, getting into not serious things that make me brood and be very, very quiet, which is not good for Let's Playing. This mini boss is very difficult. I know I kicked its ass in 2 seconds, but it's very fucking difficult. It does a lot of damage. You can only hurt it in between the 2 giant cannons. As Base, that's very difficult to manage, and even if you do hit him, his Base Buster is so ridiculously weak that it's gonna take you a long time, and to fight for a long time without making any mistakes is almost impossible. So therefore, you're gonna get hit a lot, and you're gonna die, and you're gonna get frustrated. As Mega Man, you can just fight the boss with the Mega Buster. As Base, use the Vulcan Buster, because, you know, it's homey. And if you're actually, you know what? Let me say this. As Base, definitely, absolutely fight Bullet Man first. His stage, not as difficult as other stages. His mini-boss, not as difficult as other mini-bosses. His weapon, extremely useful for Base. Fight Bullet Man as Base first. Otherwise, you're in for a very rough time playing this game. You're just in for an extremely rough time playing this game. Like, ridiculous. And you'll see the base. Here's the Base Cyclone, exactly the same as Mega Man's Barrier Wind thing. Oh, and now I'm showing off which weapon actually destroys the walls. Believe it or not, it's not the fucking Vulcan blast. It's wind. Fucking wind brings down those walls. That's... Alright, whatever. That's your logic. It's fine with it, I guess. Actually, that wind weapon is really good. Not only is it very powerful, it also acts as a shield that defends you against a lot of different a lot of different indestructible projectiles, like the lasers from the cannons or the big giant bubble goop things from the frogs. It's a very good weapon. It's a very good weapon, but remember, you gotta conserve. Because otherwise you're gonna run out of weapon energy. You're gonna run out of weapon energy. I'm hunting rabbits. I'm hunting rabbits who have low weapon energy. Or wenergy. No, wenergy. Yeah, that's how you say it. These fucking ball balancing robots are really annoying. Because they're pretty much invincible until the moment when they're throwing their balls at you. Until the moment they're throwing the balls at you. They're completely invincible. So just try to stay out of their way. As you see, he's about to throw his ball. That's the only time where he's actually vulnerable. His base, they, along with every other fucking enemy in this game, take forever to destroy because this game was not designed for base in mind. I know I'm getting frustrated, but when I'm seeing this stage play out, this relatively simple stage play out with base, and it's taken way longer than it normally would because it's base, I can't help but get a little frustrated because Dr. Wily's strongest robot master is so weak. Anyway, Kamosu Man. Probably the toughest of the initial 4 robot masters you have to fight. He starts by dividing himself into 3. Each one of his divisions, each one of his copies, including the real one, throws 3 little shots at you. And then he just repeats the process. He's very quick. He's very dangerous. He does a lot of damage. He does not let up with his pattern at all. His weakness is the wind weapon that you get from Aircon Man. So use it. Don't bother with Mega Buster or Base Buster. Just use it. Eventually, after doing his copy flying up to the ceiling and then shooting shots down at you 3 times, he's going to play his instrument. I don't know what instrument that is. He's going to play his instrument, and he will summon fire from the bottom of the screen. Just keep rolling on him because he's completely vulnerable when he's doing that. I mean, you're going to have a hell of a time dodging that fire. But if you have enough health to just take the hits, just keep hitting with the wind weapon, because holy shit, he's tough. He's way tougher than the other 3 bosses. Like a real step up. That's basically the Doppler attack. Doppler attack for base is invincibility mode. It's invincibility mode. Mega Man's Doppel Crash is pretty good too, but holy shit. Base's Doppler attack, use that and the Vulcan anytime you can, because crazy powerful. Crazy fucking powerful. As base is recommended, you go after Bullet Man first, then Aircon Man. Well, no, you know what? Aircon Man's easy enough with just the Base Buster. It's gonna take a while, but you know, easy enough. More story here, by the way. Learn a little bit more about Mega Man's Shadow with the first and only appearance of Proto Man. This is the dialogue as Mega Man, and now here's the dialogue as Base. Back to the weapon though. Doppel Crash is so incredible as Base. It almost makes up for the fact that his Base Buster is stupid weak, but not really. Not really. Doesn't really make up for it. I don't even know why I said that. Still a great weapon though. Still a great weapon. Maybe you should invest buying the weapon in the shop that. A lot of burping. The weapon in the shop that reduces how much weapon energy you use for your weapons. Probably very worth it to use that. For the first time, I think, ever in Mega Man. Well, maybe not the first time ever. No, yeah, you know what? I mean, I know some people are going to think Gemini Man was the first one, but this is probably the first time ever where we've had 2 Robot Masters. More than 1 Robot Master as a boss of a stage. I know technically these guys are called Dimensions, but they're Robot Masters. I'm going to keep calling them Robot Masters. This is probably the first time in Mega Man history where we've actually had 2 Robot Masters as the boss of one stage. The Clock Man. And I know some people are going to say Gemini Man was technically multiple Robot Masters. He wasn't. He was just a bunch of copies of Gemini Man. These are two different robot masters that look and act exactly the same. These are two unique robots that pretty much act as a team, whereas Gemini Man just had copies of himself. This is actually two robots teaming up against one robot. This is actually pretty cool and pretty unique. And they are actually very appropriately difficult. Once you beat the 4 initial robot masters, you unlock the Clockmen as boss number 5 that you have to take on. Technically boss number 6 if you want to count the Grey Devil. I don't count the Grey Devil. I guess you should count the Grey Devil, because he is kind of difficult. As base. I'm gonna keep saying that for the rest of the time. As base, he's appropriately difficult. This is another thing I like, though. I mean, this is why I have mixed feelings on this game. Why some things are amazing and why some things just piss me the hell off. The idea of fighting two robot masters at once, even if they are identical, that's cool. That's really cool and unique. This mini boss, by the way, is pretty basic. He's very weak and very easy. He drops some debris from the sky. When he makes the huge leap from one side of the room to the other, he drops 4 pieces of debris that you have to watch out for. When he makes small leaps, he just drops 1 piece of debris either in front of him or behind him. It's very simple to predict. He's not difficult. Not that unique compared to the octopus robot or the hand robot. Just pretty simple overall. And that life was just there. Usually everything in this game is hidden behind, having to use a double jump as base, or, by the way, alternate path. Base can't slide under there like Mega Man can, so Base is forced to take this path. Mega Man can take this path if he wants. No reason to, though. Because Base actually has to go through a longer version of this stage than Mega Man does. Again, more proof that the game was not designed for Base. You have to add this extra long detour for Base just to get him to the same point where that Mega Man can get to in 2 screens. I mean, and there isn't any juxtaposition. There isn't any vice versa. There isn't any stage where Base has an easier time to get through it, and then Mega Man has to take the super long detour to get back to where Base can get to really easily. This game was designed for Mega Man only. This game would actually be almost really good and almost completely finished if it wasn't a Mega Man and Base game. If it wasn't a direct sequel to Mega Man and Base. If they just had the Mega Man portion of this game and no Base, would have been fine. Would have been fine as is. Would have been a fine, decent ripoff of a Mega Man game. But because they have Base, and because the game is just not designed for Base, then you're not gonna have fun playing as Base. Unless you actually grind 300 bolts necessary to get his upgraded Base Buster. Then you'll finally have some fun, because then things finally become fair. But yeah, see, most lines hide behind like walls or in special areas that you have to double jump to or slide into. For some reason they gave you that one life completely for free. I don't know, it's just strange. That's why I say this game has decent level design, but not great level design, not superb level design, not in some cases not well thought out level design, as I ranted about with Base. Some of the level design is just not up to snuff for him. But I'll shut about that, because now we're going to fight the Clockmen, a unique pair of robot masters with unique fighting strategy. Well, not that unique fighting strategy. Basically, they do a sweep kick across the ground. It's pretty cool. And then they fire up in the sky. They each shoot 3 shots each. Then they have that clock. That clock is, by the way, they're weak to the barrier wind and to the Doppler attack, both as Mega Man and Base. That clock attack, I'm going to show it here because it's so powerful. They completely freeze time. They rain lightning down from the sky. They're so difficult to jump over. Their shots are so difficult to dodge. The Clockmen are really tough. The Clockmen are insanely tough. They're probably tougher than Komosu Man. Actually, they are tougher than Komosu Man. They're really difficult. They deserve to be boss number 5 or 6, I guess, technically. By the way, this is the first time that a Robot Master actually has their own dialogue in a main Mega Man game. I mean, I know Mega Man powered up, and every Robot Master has dialogue, but for the first time, a unique Robot Master we've never seen before actually talks to you before they fight you, and who aren't the main villain of the game, Mega Man Shadow. Compass Man actually talks to you and actually, antagonizes you a little bit before he actually runs out to his boss room where you have to get to him and fight him. Compass Man's even tougher than the Clockman, but back to Clockman for a second. They're so difficult to jump over, and the shots are so difficult to dodge, and that time stop ability they have is really powerful with the lightning raining down from the sky. They're appropriately difficult. Compass Man's even more difficult. Compass Man is a great step up from the Clockman. In terms of the balancing of bosses, I think this game actually does a pretty decent job. I know, as usual, things are really fucking difficult and annoying and... But playing the game as Mega Man, aka the way the game should only be played as, the bosses are actually pretty good and well balanced. Even Komosu Man, who's stupidly tough for that first batch of robots that you have to fight. Even he's okay, because the Clockmen are tougher in my opinion, and Compass Man's tougher in my opinion. And you have the option of fighting Komosu Man with his weakness or without his weakness, so... I think the balancing of the bosses, for the most part, as Mega Man, is fine. That's my ultimate point. That's my ultimate point about it. The exception of maybe Komosu Man, the bosses are fine, as Mega Man. This mini boss is pretty cool. Pretty unique. It's a big old tank. Shoots some pellet shots. Has a little cylinder up in the sky. It either unleashes a turret at you, which fires a barrage of pellet bullets, or it'll unleash a big old spike ball to try and hit you for massive damage. It's a pretty fun mini-boss. It's not, super unique, but it's very involved, and involves you doing a lot of jumping and dashing and sliding, and it's good. It's fun. It's a good mini-boss. Not bad. Good job, Mega Man Base 2, for giving us a fun mini-boss for a appropriately difficult Robot Master. As Mega Man, this mini-boss takes me like 5 seconds, though, because Mega Buster is appropriately powerful enough to just blast through this thing, but his base, as usual, his base, it's a fucking chore. I didn't even intend when I started to do this long play to complain about base this much, but holy shit, it's so easy to complain about base. There's actually 2 paths here. Don't let the pit fool you. It seems like it's going to be a bottomless, but it's actually an alternate path, which has a bunch of goodies. So it's in your best interest to take this path. And it's not really an alternate path; it's more like a detour, but it's a good detour. It's a detour with weapon energy, health, and extra life, which is base you can get to very easily. As Mega Man, you have to have Rushed Coil to get to. An instance where base's abilities actually provide him with something, and Mega Man that provides him with something, and not Mega Man. Very few and far between, but still there, so. Good job, Mega Man in Base 2. You're not always pissing me off at the base stages. We're actually almost done with the game. Holy shit, I can't. What the fuck? I've been talking for 55 minutes, just about? Holy shit, how time can fly. Yeah, we're almost done. Because after Compass Man, you just have to fight Mega Man Shadow. And yeah, Mega Man Shadow, that by the way, is the path. Like I said, the bottom path was actually a detour, and if you took the top path, you'd just get here real quick. Holy shit, I can't believe I've been talking for 55 minutes now. Wow. Holy crap. We're almost done with the game. After we fight Compass Man, we just have to fight Mega Man Shadow, and that's it. Mega Man Shadow has his own stage, which is appropriately long, but it's not that long. It's not that long. It's not multiple stages. It's not a castle or a base or a fortress. It's one stage that I guess is his fortress, and then you fight Mega Man Shadow, and that's it. And yeah, Mega Man Shadow technically has 3 phases, but you fight all 3 phases at once, and that, by the way, the time stop ability that you get as Mega Man in base, very powerful. Very, very powerful. Exactly the same for both of them. It's not different for each character. It does exactly the same thing. You don't get hurt by any shots that are already on screen. You don't get hurt by enemies on screen. You're completely invincible. You can't do any damage to them, but you're completely invincible, so you can just run past them all. It's amazing. I love that ability. You just saw it in action. It's amazing. Alright, Compass Man. Reason it's so difficult. You can't hurt the top of his body. You can't hurt the bottom of his body. The only thing you can hurt is that small orb in the middle. That's the only thing that can hurt him. It's weak to the wind thing, the barrier, whatever you want to call it, the base cyclone, I guess they just called it, and the Doppler attack. That's both Mega Man and base. Those are his two weaknesses. Use whatever you gotta use, because Compass Man's difficult. He divides his body into two after shooting a quick shot at you. You can actually destroy that shot with the Mega Buster and Base Buster if you want, or you can just slide or, dash under it. I didn't do a good job of that, but you can. When the body's divided in two, the legs walk back and forth, and the top of the body will be spinning around really, really, really fast, like a top. I don't know why I exaggerate. I don't know why I put emphasis on like a top, because I guess I was thinking about Top Man, but whatever. He flies around, tries to charge at you, shoots shots at you. Regular Bosch stick, and just try to dodge him. Try to dodge him, or take the hits if you have to. If you have a lot of health, because Compass Man's not so easy. Step up from the clock, man. And now it's time for the big reveal. Turns out Mega Man Shadow, if you couldn't already tell, is another version of Quint. He's another evil Mega Man from the future. He's not Quint. He's not actually the Mega Man killer robot from Mega Man 2 for Game Boy Quint. He is a Mega Man like Quint, from a future like Quint, where Dr. Wily kidnaps him and turns him into a war machine. Mega Man Shadow went rogue, made his own robot army, took over the world, brought about the robot apocalypse, came back in time because he wanted to take over the world from the past, I guess. I don't know. Look, the plot of this game is fun. It's good. It's better than Mega Man 2 for Game Boys. Still crazy, and I still can't believe that out of the very few plot threads they decided to pick up on following Mega Man and Base, they decided to go all the way back to Mega Man 2 for Game Boy and do more with the time travel stuff. The one thing that didn't really work, all the classic fighting Dr. Wily stuff worked. Robots going insane and, forming their own robot nation like King, that kind of worked. Actually, no, that did work. Why am I saying kind of? That worked. The one thing that didn't work, robots from space, that also worked. That was fine. But to bring about the fucking time travel plot from Mega Man 2 for Game Boy with the convoluted story, I can't believe they brought that back. And really, they technically only bring it back by just mentioning that happened, because technically Mega Man Shadow is not Quint. He looks like Quint. He acts like Quint. And as you'll see in his boss fight, the second phase, he fights like Quint. But he's not Quint. It's very strange. He's just another Mega Man that just went rogue and decided to take over the world in the future, or destroy the world in the future, but then he got bored. Actually, that's going to be answered in the final cutscene. Then he got bored and came back to the past to conquer it. Well, you'll see. There's actually a good reason why he came back to the past, believe it or not. For something that seems kind of silly and not at all making any sense in the cutscene we just saw, there is actually an explanation that you get after you beat Mega Man Shadow. I might call him Quint occasionally, I'm sorry for that, but if he looks like Quint and he fights like Quint, maybe he's Quint. He's not Quint. But if he looks like Quint and talks like Quint or fights like Quint, I'm gonna call him Quint occasionally, so apologies for that. I know he's not a Mega Man killer robot, technically. Final stage of Mega Man and Base. Appropriately long, appropriately difficult as Mega Man. stupidly difficult as base, because once again, fuck, base gameplay. Just whatever. I'm not gonna talk about base anymore because I'm not gonna talk about the base gameplay anymore because we're done with that. That's whatever. I'm done with that. Totally done with that. I promise you right now. Actually, we're gonna fight the mini boss. Are we gonna fight the mini boss? Yeah, we're gonna fight the mini boss. Okay, mini boss is this big skull Halloween robot thing. Pretty cool. Basically, when there aren't 3 bones on the screen, it's going to jump down from the ceiling and shoot 3 bones that will fly around and eventually home in on you and try to hit you. Once all 3 bones are not on the screen, he will jump down and do it again. Just jump down and unleash 3 more bones. It's up to you to decide when to destroy the bones or, you know, when to dodge the bones. I'm not really dodging the bones because there's really no point. Since he's so far away, he's not going to actually hit me when he jumps down. But if you can time when to destroy the bones in order for the robot to jump down when it's nowhere near you, that'd be great to get away with fighting this robot and not taking the damage. Otherwise, just hit the little light bulb on his head and you're fine. Either with the Vulcan blaster or the Doppler attack as base, because the Doppler attack as base is so OP. Or with the Mega Buster, because the Mega Buster is also insanely, well, not insanely overpowered. It's appropriately powered. It's base that is really fucking weak. I said I wasn't gonna talk about base, but I talked about base again. You know what? Whatever, I'm a fucking liar. I'm gonna talk about base some more, because that's just what I do. I hit that on the table. My earphone. I hit that on the table. Whoopsie! Are these robots Sniper Joes? Well, not Sniper Joes. The Hammer Joes. The Joe models that threw maces at you in Mega Man 3. I think that's what these are. I'm pretty sure that's what these are. They have the one eye. They throw stuff at you exactly like they do in Mega Man 3. I mean, they threw actual maces and not, you know, spike balls. A series of spike balls. I guess it's supposed to be a chain that they just bring back. Actually, no. In Mega Man 3, the Hammer Joes throw big bolas. That's what they throw. They throw big bolas, and these ones throw maces. Okay, no, that makes sense. And then there's just fucking scissors. I mean, I don't know what I'm complaining about. These are fucking scissors. Mega Man 10 has a fucking mouse. Like a literal computer mouse. The literal representation of what a computer mouse looks like on the screen of a computer. That's literally an enemy from Mega Man 10. That's whatever. I'm not going to complain about a pair of scissors. In fact, there are pairs of scissors in Mega Man 10. That's another idea they got for Mega Man. That's another idea they got for Mega Man 10 for Mega Man and Base 2. Solar Man and the scissors. Wow, I am just discovering a whole bunch of things as I talk out loud to myself for an hour. Also, there's an alternate path in this stage, not really an alternate path, a detour. No point in taking it. I'm not going to show it off because there's no point in taking it. The only thing you get, which is the weapon energy, I show off because I took the left, and you saw the weapon energy there, and there you go. So yeah, there's another path. No point in playing. No point in playing. No point in going through it. No point in playing. That's a Freudian slip. No point in playing this game. There's a point in playing this game. I like this game. This game surprised me. Both the good and the bad surprised me about this game. I was really expecting this game to be absolutely nothing. I didn't expect I was going to do a full playthrough of this game at all. Just like show it off for a special final video. Here I'm trying to get some health for the final boss, but whatever. I don't end up getting any. I don't end up getting any, I should say. Spoiler alert. This game really surprised me. In good and bad ways. It's not finished. And I wish it was, because this game could have been really decent if it was finished, actually. Alright, whatever. Mega Man Shadow, last boss of the game. 3 phases, 60 bars of health. First phase, he jumps and he slides. If you let him get too close, he will shoot his Mega Man Shadow Buster, which is a big laser cannon. Don't let him do that. As soon as you get him down to here, yeah, okay, now, second phase. He's gonna fight exactly like, well, not exactly like Quint did, but he's gonna fight reminiscent to how Quint did in Mega Man 2 for Game Boy. He's gonna use the pogo stick, he's gonna jump down, and for good measure, debris will fall from the ceiling to try and destroy you. Don't let the debris hit you. And finally, the last phase, Mega Man Shadow will use his own version of the Doppler Rush attack to try and kill you and hurt you and all that other bad stuff, and every time he hits you, shots will fire off from all 6 directions. Difficult, very surprisingly difficult. Kill him fast, save as much of that Doppler Rush as you can. Remember, conserve your energy. Save as much of the Doppler Rush or Doppler Crash as base as you can, and use it against the second and third phases, because Mega Man Shadow is surprisingly difficult. Now, we learn the truth of Mega Man Shadow. Turns out he was created alongside Quint. He was created alongside Quint. And when Quint was destroyed, he felt abandoned, so he took over the world and destroyed it. And then he came back in time because he's suicidal, because he lost his identical twin brother, Quint, to Dr. Wily's machinations. And he figured, well, you know, if Mega Man could destroy Quint, then maybe Mega Man could destroy me, or Base. Either way, he just wanted to die. He abused his power because he lost everything. And then he decided he had to die. Well, that's sad. That's kind of a downer way to end the game. It's actually a really downer way to end the game, but I mean that's what happened. In the base ending that we'll see, Mega Man Shadow actually appeals to the humanity in Base a little bit. You know, Base doesn't fully go for it again, just like in Mega Man and Base. When Proto Man tried to pull the same thing on him, but I mean you can see it on Base's face. It's kind of weird. This short war with Mega Man Shadow kind of wears on him a little bit. Yeah. God, this makes me really wish the Archie comics. Really miss the Archie comic series. The Mega Man comic is on hiatus, but oh my God, it would have been amazing if it continued on. And we eventually got to the Mega Man Shadow arc, because they teased the Mega Man Shadow arc, the Mega Man and Base 2 arc, and oh God, that would have been phenomenal in the comic. The comic is phenomenal, and I will never see it. And yeah. Base Society won't be weak by Mega Man, but this whole thing was interesting. That's going to be on his mind for the rest of his life. You know, he's not even in the mood to fight Mega Man. That's development of a kind. The fact he never fights him again in the classic series is, I mean, not counting Mega Man Unlimited. We'll get to Mega Man Unlimited because I like Mega Man Unlimited a lot. Well, that's Mega Man and Base 2, Challenger from the Future. This was the English ROM. There'll be a link to actually download the English ROM of this game online. Online, it's obviously online. On the description for this video. Go ahead and try it out, because originally this game was just in Japanese, but you know, someone actually made an English ROM of this game. Someone actually took the time to translate this whole game. And it's great. It's the reason why I played this game. I would have played this game just in Japanese anyway, just explain the story to you, but it's great that someone took the time to make the English ROM. You should definitely play it. Anyway. This has been Let's Play Mega Man and Base 2. I hope you enjoyed. I know I did. Have a great day. Bye-bye.